Hello, good evening to you. Warm welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. To that developing story we are learning, some players in the agricultural sector have welcomed the increase in the price of cocoa, saying it is a positive one. Now, according to the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, the new price will help check smuggling of cocoa beans outside the country. Now, COCOBOD some few hours ago increased the farm gate price paid to cocoa farmers by 58.26% to 33,120 cedis per ton for the 2023-2024 crop season. Now, the new price takes effect from April 5, 2024. Let's get onto the phone lines and speak to the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Dr. Edward Kariwe. Thanks so much, Dr. Kariwe, for your time here on Prime Business. Yesterday, when we spoke, you were looking at some 150% increase, but here we are today now, 58.26%. How significant is this, and what is going to be the impact of this, basically, on farmers, I should say?
Well, good evening to you, and good evening to those who are listening to us or watching us. Well, I think that expectations is one thing, and then what has turned out today is another. For me, I had anticipated or had wished that if they could go up to 150%. I am satisfied that before they came out with this price, the underlying factor is that there was a consultation among the stakeholders, and then I believe they would have taken into account the impact of it on the farmers, first and foremost, and then secondly, how far it will take to stop smuggling, of the beans out of the country. This price increase must be juxtaposed against what is happening in Côte d'Ivoire, and then also the smuggling of the beans. So I am just hopeful that all these factors have been taken into consideration, and then they have come to the over 58% increase, which, in their opinion, will probably be good enough to stop the smuggling of cocoa beans and also to compensate the farmers for the windfall that is coming from the international market.
I guess then you are of the firm conviction that, well, this will encourage farmers to produce more as they look forward to, help reduce the practices of farmlands being sold to illegal miners or even smuggling the cocoa beans to neighboring countries.
Well, this alone is one factor to motivate farmers. But there are other factors that are not based on the whims and caprices of the farmers. For instance, galamsey activity does not persuade the farmers to sell their lands to them. They simply adopt crude methods to get the farmers, even sometimes abandon the farms for them to go and do their mining, or make it very difficult for them to continue with their farming activities, thereby conceding to sell their farmlands to them. So much as it will motivate farmers, I think the enforcement part of the state, which is to be taken up by the state, that galamsey is an illegality, and it should not be allowed to fester and then to also destroy cocoa farms, must be taken up seriously. So I'm just making the point that the other factors are equally compelling, and if we don't deal with them and thinking that we can use price increase alone to increase cocoa production and then to stop farmers from giving out their farms to galamsey users, we may not succeed in that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edward Kariwe. We are grateful for your time, General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, speaking to us on the back of the increase in the farm gate price for cocoa farmers there. Away from that, the government borrowed 19.90 billion cedis through Treasury Bills in March 2024. This was 17% lower than that of February 2024. However, interest rates have fallen by more than 3.6 percentage points since the beginning of the year, signaling an improving economic environment. Here's more.
From indications, the government will be lowering its appetite for borrowing from the domestic market going forward. Part of the proceeds from the T-bills auctioned in March were used to refinance maturing bills worth 14.47 billion cedis. Importantly, the yields remain on the downward trend with a 91-day, 182-day and 364-day closing lower. Since the beginning of the year, interest rates have fallen by more than 3.6% across the yield curve. Analysts expect a lower pace in yield decline for this month due to the disinflation process and the recent increase in the cash reserve ratio for banks. Last week, the demand for T-bills by investors fell below the Treasury's target as banks with loan-to-deposit ratios below 55% prepared to increase cash reserves to the respective required levels. The government, as a result, got about 50% of the targeted amount.
Reacting to this development, senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amoy, expressed optimism the continuous drop in interest rates of government treasury bills will have a positive impact on the cost of borrowing.
If you look at the computation of the Ghana reference rate, the T-bill rate has a major role to play as an input factor in the Ghana reference rate. So once we see the decline in the T-bill rate, definitely all things being equal, it should reflect in the Ghana reference rate. And once that declines, cost of borrowing to the borrower, but for the individual's credit riskiness should be low. In the sense that once the TB rate declines, we expect the Ghana reference rate to also decline. And you will be able to source for loans at a reduced rate. You need to be aware that in many instances, some of the triggers, look at what is happening now. Exchange rate, the CD for about a month now has not been very stable. And if you look at our consumption as a country, our import bill is quite huge. So once the exchange rate affect the input prices, then there's all possibility that producers would like to hike up their prices to make up for the losses that they are recording from the increases in the exchange rate. So until we have a good control on the factors that feed into the market basket that makes up inflation, we are going to have a challenge. But if we are able to get the needed macroeconomic stability, then all things being equal, prices should be lowering going forward. It is possible, but as to whether we will be able to achieve it, I don't know in practice for now.
More on the economy, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, wants Ghana and other low-income countries in Africa to mobilize more taxes in order to close the wide tax-to-GDP ratio. According to her, a proper tax system will enable low-income countries in Africa to raise capital from the thriving domestic market. She was speaking at a joint IMF-World Bank event named Rising to the Challenge in Davos.
No, we see it that those that are doing better are countries with strong institutions, rule of law, transparency, less corruption. And building those strengths is what nobody but the countries themselves can take on. We know, and this is number one, build institutions and policies so you have strength. Number two, countries can very practically look at where they're falling short in generating the kinds of revenues they need to invest in their people, to invest in infrastructure, to invest in prosperity. And we did an analysis that shows that up to 9% tax to GDP is still for grabs in many countries. So build your tax system, especially focusing on bringing more of the economy in the open. You can't do all of it, but as much as you can. The richer part of the population, the businesses that are thriving, they have an obligation to the rest of society. Quite a number of them have reserves, external reserves, below 3 months of import. And this we take to be the critical level for a country to be able to serve its people. it would be morally wrong and bad for the countries and the world if they're left to struggle with these challenges on their own. For the fund, it is this external capacity. We are balance of payments supporter, so we can provide loans, and we have done it remarkably well.
In more business news, GCB Bank PLC, as part of its corporate social responsibility, has donated a 4-unit classroom block and other facilities to the Kwaman Methodist Basic School in the Agona West municipality. In a handing over ceremony, Deputy Managing Director of Operations at the bank, Emmanuel Odati Lamte, reiterated the bank's commitment to developing the country's human resource to contribute to economic development. There is more in this report.
The 4-unit classroom block donated by GCB Bank PLC to the Kwamai Methodist Basic School also comes with 2 poly tanks, an ICT lab, and a modern washroom. This is to help improve teaching and learning in the school. At the handing over ceremony, Deputy Managing Director of Operations at GCB Bank PLC, Emmanuel Odati Lamte, said the donation shows the bank's commitment towards economic development.
We believe that by providing access to quality education facilities, we are investing in the next generation of leaders, innovators, and change makers. We are excited about this project and many others that we are undertaking in education, health, and in protecting our environment as part of our corporate social responsibility. Beyond our unwavering commitment to our corporate social responsibility agenda, for over 7 decades, we have remained a key pillar in supporting the economic growth and development of our country.
Head teacher of the school, Samuel Kwame Insaidu, added that the donation was timely and would improve educational activities in the school.
I thank the GCB PLC very much for what they've come to do for us. In fact, the initial building was in very deplorable state, where teachers were even refusing to go to that particular class to teach. So this building that they've put up will even motivate any teacher who will be assigned to go to this class to teach. And I'm so happy for the way the project actually went through. In fact, the supervision was superb. I pray that if every government project even goes through this kind of supervision, I don't think we'll be at where we are. So we thank PLC so very much.
The students were urged to cultivate a good maintenance culture.
Some generator dealers have revealed that the unstable exchange rate is negatively impacting their businesses. According to a dealer, Akupa Ofosuhini, the recent power outages have led to an increase in demand for generators. However, the unstable exchange rate is accounting for the inability to meet demands. Today on the Joy Business Shopping List, we talk to a dealer who shares how much it will cost customers to acquire generators.
Welcome to another edition of the Joy Business Shopping List. Today we put the focus on the standby power supply industry. With the recent power outages, one would be looking for a good alternative source of power. Come with me as we find out how much it will cost you to acquire generators for your homes, offices, and institutions.
We are into refurbish of generators, and we import some from UK and Turkey as well.
What type of generators?
We do industrial. Normally we do in most industrial and residence gensets.
Walk us through your prices. If someone wants to get a generator from you right now, how much should they be looking at?
It depends the sizes that a person wants. We do from 12.5 and beyond. So normally residence starts from 15, 10 to 20. The 20 currently, the prices varies between the foreign exchange, normally foreign exchange, and what happened at the port. So that is what you determine to sell. Depending how everybody wants, some want huge margins, some want small margins, so that you can still be in the business, like the importation will be continuation. But 20 kV range from 60, 65 and beyond, depending the year model and the make of the gen. The industrials, the 100 and 150, the 100 normally now is around 100,000, 120,000 and beyond, depending the make Normally in Ghana, there are two brands that they are normally highly movable, the Perkins and the Cummins.
With the current situation with the power outages now, how has patronage been for you as dealers and generators?
As they say, they are doing fuel maintenance and changing some fuel transformers. So it has been very high demand now. Some people, a lot of people have a name of that they call it, but we don't have any name of call it. We just know there's power outage and there's power restore. So whilst there have been consistent power outage, let me say, gen have shot into the system, especially the residence one from the 12.5 to 2030. It's difficult to find now. So when the demand becomes very high, the prices boost up a little. We could all testify what happened at the COVID time when a loan car of Gary becomes 1.5 and etc. compared to 25 cities now. That is not what I mean, but depending who is selling it knows now the demand becomes very high, so the person will boost his or her price a little up.
For a residential generator, a few months ago, before the power outages, how much would someone have to part with to acquire?
Few months ago, let's say somewhere start from last year, November, up to this November, September to December, around 38 to 45,000. You could get a fairly used genset at your residence. But whilst there's shortage and high demand, now you start from 60, 65 and beyond. I tell you, there's not a lot of money in the system. So people want to do payment terms, and payment terms doesn't help into this system, because when you accept payment terms and you sell it for the person, tomorrow dollar is one way up. Since December, it has been moving up. So selling becomes a little difficult depending how you negotiate with the person.
Demand-wise, is there a high demand from the industries and institutions rather than the residences?
Yes, demand-wise, let's say the churches and the medium factories are those ones that they are really calling high. Residents, is once maybe you get someone who wants to buy.
You import your gens as well. Are there any challenges you face with the CD and
the exchange rate? Is truly, honestly, it's disturbing this business. Honestly, because when you bring gen from UK, perhaps like you bring 20 or 5 generators from UK today, and the capital is like £30,000. The following month, like a month or two, that you need to add up, because as I said previously, you need to do payment terms, and we are not allowed to sell in foreign exchange. So you sell in your local exchange rate, and by the time the person finishes paying in a month or two, means there's no profit margin, and maybe you need to add up a little.
Would you say this difficulty is also a reason why the shortage is happening, apart from the fact that there's an increase in demand?
With retailers, normally we can't bring more because of the exchange rate. Honestly, with few people, and the people we talk to ourselves is due to the exchange rate, because like within 2 weeks and 3 weeks ago, the dollar was around 12.6, and now it's around 13.6 to 14. And even if you go to the bank, there's no even dollar for you to do your importation. Maybe you want to push like $50,000 or $30,000, and they may tell you can't do all at a go, maybe tomorrow and the next week. So that is why we cannot purchase a whole lot of. That is why we plead to the government, we plead to those people who matters to make the exchange rates stable, at least
a month, you know if you're going to buy for 12.4 or 12.5 within a month, you can do your budget very well. But in this situation, you can't run at one consistent budget. Today, different price, tomorrow, different price.
That was a standby power supply dealer sharing with us the cost of acquiring generators in these critical times. According to them, due to the recent power outages, there has been a shortage of generators in the system. For Joy Business, Jesse Era Magbakbo.
We've got international business next for you. Thanks so much for watching Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. For more stories, feel free to log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Do enjoy your weekend. Razak Musbao is next with Prime Sports. Bye.